Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Take a second to do your Friday dance if you need to. I'll spare you mine. Don't worry. So what do we want to do today? We're going to learn about germs. It's going to be really fun. But before we do that, I just want to go over the plan for what's going on today and for the next week or so. Okay? Let's do it. The plan. Here's what it looks like, okay? So we got class on Tuesdays and Fridays. And in particular, we are gonna zoom back in on coronavirus. You guys started already on Tuesday doing the history of pandemics. So check, done that. Today we're gonna introduce pathogens, aka germs. We're gonna learn all about germs, different kinds of germs, and then we're gonna start to figure out what specific kind of germ is coronavirus and how does it work. Okay, so we're gonna spend today and the next 2 days on that. Here's today. And then next Friday, so not today, not Tuesday, next Friday, it's going to be your assessment on what exactly is the coronavirus. So we're going to zoom in on one of those words today. We're going to zoom in on virus and figure out what is a virus. And then you guys are going to watch some videos. You're going to listen to a podcast. You're going to ask some questions. You're going to answer your questions. And on Friday, we'll put it all together, tie a nice little bow on it, and everybody will get a score for their learning goal. So if you're worried, if you're like, learning goal assessment, it's okay. Don't worry. You don't need to panic. You can see me. You can see Miss Ridgedale. You can see Mr. Chervin today during office hours, Tuesday during live lesson, Wednesday during office hours, or Friday during live lesson. So you have 4 whole opportunities to check in with us. Okay, so don't waste it. Come see us. We miss you. We miss you a lot. Come make fun of my hair. I know, I'm looking like the Fonz or something. All right, anyway. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. All right. So, that's the master. I always forget that I put a GIF in. That's a pretty good one. Okay. So, today I want to give you guys a couple options. We're going to introduce pathogens. We're going to talk about germs. Everybody should stop right now, pause, and go open this document that says 424 Introduction to Pathogens. Looks like this. It's very nice. Go ahead there. And let me tell you what we're going to do. I am going to go through this whole document. I'm going to do it with you. If you are already sick of me, we're 2 minutes and 45 seconds in. If you're already sick of me, that's okay. You can go ahead and do it with this video instead. Whoa. With this video instead right here, the YouTube video that I linked. Okay, so you can go watch that video, check it out, and then come back and fill this stuff in. If you watch that video and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, then just come back to this one and we'll do it together, okay? If you're like, oh no, Ms. Daly is my favorite, I just want to listen to her forever, then stay here and we'll do this together. Okay. So, germs. The world is full of germs. They're on your nose, they're in your skin, they're probably on my water bottle, they're definitely on this package of shorts that I have to return. They're everywhere. They're on my cat. They're in the air. Okay. And it's true. We just have to accept it. We got to figure out what's up with the germs. And part of the way that I want to accept it is by learning more about them and really trying to understand them. Okay. Stay hydrated, guys. Okay. So, what is the scientific word for germs? And germs, if you're like, germs, what are germs? I can't remember. ¿Qué es germs? Germs are germen, right? Same thing. Germs, germen. And when we write it, it looks very similar. But the scientific word for germs is a pathogen. So pause, go look yourself in the mirror and say pathogens. Say it to your dog. Pathogens. Say it to your little brother, your little sister. Pathogens. Whatever. Say it. Say it out loud a couple times. Okay. Pathogens are germs, and they are microorganisms that cause disease. I highlight this word micro because it just means really, really small. So it's small organisms that cause disease. Okay. What's a disease? Disease is a disruption to the structure or the function in a living thing. So we've talked a lot about structure and function, right? I have a body, it's a structure. Different parts of my body, different systems in my body have different functions. And if I get a disease, then one of those functions is messed up. If I get a stomach bug in my stomach, then I can't eat, right? It messes with my digestive system. I end up like throwing up all day. Haven't had one of those in a long time, so hopefully I won't have any. Okay. Quick Spanish plug here. Disease. There's our hitterman. Disease, sickness, illness. These are all synonyms. Synonyms, right? Words that mean the same thing. And then this other word that you might know, you might not know, infirm or an infirmity. Also an illness and a sickness, and I like that one because it sounds like enfermedad. And in this unit, en esta unidad hay muchas palabras que son iguales en español y en inglés y espero que tú puedes comprender la mayoría de las palabras en la lección. Okay, we'll try. I think you can probably hear a lot of them, and I'll say some out loud. Okay. Let's go actually back to our document because we have a couple of definitions here that are really important. So a pathogen, if you're ready, let's just put a definition in there. You can use the one from the slide. I'm going to go ahead and type mine. Pathogen, aka germs, are micro, I'm going to put a little parentheses here, small, micro, muy pequeño. So small. Okay. Small organisms, microorganisms that cause disease. Okay. Awesome. And then a disease is a disruption. Disruption is like interrupción, right? A disruption in a system, structure, or function in a living thing. Tables cannot get diseases. Water bottles cannot get diseases. My phone cannot get a disease. Living things can get diseases. Plants, animals, Miss Daly, your grandparents, I don't know, the tiger at the Bronx Zoo. Living things can get diseases. Okay? And then let's hit up this next word, infection, and I want to let's just talk about infection. We'll come back to this. Okay. So when you have a lot of pathogens in your body, that's an infection. An infection is like an invasion, right? Something that shouldn't be in your body coming in and like, attack. Okay. So when I think about an infection, I think about many pathogens in like invading a body system, causing a disruption, okay, aka disease. So you might hear these words, you might have been seeing in the news the words disease, infection, pathogen, all of those different terms. They're related to each other, and this is kind of the details about them, okay? All right, so most pathogens fall into two categories. La mayoría de pathogens son like hay dos tipos de pathogens. Like la mayoría de pathogens are in dos tipos. Okay, and there's like two types of pathogens. I've got bacteria and I have viruses. Two different things. Both of them are pathogens. So what's the difference? That's what we're going to investigate today. Okay. So I'm going to stop here on the slides and I'm just going to go straight back to my document. Okay. I've put in here some clues for you guys to think a little bit about what some of these answers might be, and then we'll go through them together. So the first thing I want to talk about is some different versions of the word bacteria that you might have heard. You might hear bacterium. That just means one bacteria. You might have heard bacterial. Bacterial, it means something that it's like the description for bacterial. You might have heard this one, antibacterial, like soap, right? Soap is antibacterial. It means it kills bacteria. Okay. Same deal with virus. So virus or viruses. We have many viruses. You might have heard the word viral. And you might have heard the word antiviral. Okay. I know the president has been talking a lot about medication that might help when you have a virus, and we say that antivirals are the medicine that we use to stop a virus. Okay. All right, let's talk about the size of a bacteria versus a virus, because they're two really different things. I have this picture here that I wanted you guys to check out. Just based on the picture, which one is bigger? Is a bacteria bigger or is a virus bigger? Okay, so you got it. The bacteria is bigger than a virus. Okay, so you can go ahead and put that in there. And then the other piece that I would think about here is like, if that's a piece of human hair, okay, then a bacteria is really, really, really tiny. And that's really true, okay? So a bacteria is, or a bacterium is microscopic. Okay? Microscopic means so small, we need a microscope. All right, what do you think? Is a virus microscopic or not? Can we see it with our eyes, or do we need a microscope? Okay, a virus is also microscopic. Okay, it's also so small that we have to use a microscope to see it. And it's actually, a virus is much smaller than a bacteria. It's like less than half the size. Really tiny. That's why it's really important. My cats are fighting. I think they're okay. That's why it's like really important that we use a mask when we walk around, because if we have lots of layers of protection, that means that virus can't like get in through them. They're so small. Okay, cool. Both are microscopic, but a bacteria is bigger. Now, why is a bacteria bigger? I'm about to tell you. It comes down to the components or the parts, right? Las partes de bacteria. A bacteria is it has many complicated parts. Okay, if I look at this picture, my bacteria, it has ribosomes, it has DNA, it has a membrane, it has a cell wall, it has something called a capsule, it has a plasmid, it's got pili. I don't know what pili are. Sorry. It has the flagellum. It's got lots and lots and lots of things. Okay, so a bacteria has many complicated parts, and that's because bacteria is a cell. It's alive. It's a cell. It's a unicellular organism. And because it is alive, it needs all these different parts in order to be able to function. Okay? A virus, on the other hand, I'm gonna check my timer here. Oh, we're doing good. We're gonna get this done. Okay. The virus, on the other hand, is much more simple. So a virus is very simple. And in fact, it really just has two parts that you need to know about. It has genetic material, okay, and that could be That could be DNA or it could be RNA. And it has basically an outer shell. And something to protect it. And the outer shell of a virus usually is made of lipids, fats, okay? Which is awesome for us. That's really good news for us because that means we can destroy a virus by using soap, right? When you have a greasy pan, a pan that's like, it's, or like a pot or a pan that's like greasy, you use soap to clean it off, right? And then after you've cleaned it, it's not greasy anymore. Same deal with a virus. If I clean a virus off my hands, I'm breaking down the outside of the virus and causing it basically to not function anymore. So, soap, awesome for viruses. Okay. So let's talk about how does, let's just summarize that. Can you guys actually take a second right now, summarize up there in the question, please summarize which one is more complicated and why? Which one's more complicated and why? Okay. All right. Let's move on. So yes, a bacteria is way more complicated, and it's more complicated because it's a cell. Let's move on to the disruption part. So this is like how it causes a disruption is sort of what I'm thinking about here. I want to know sort of like, what is this thing? What does this germ, what does this pathogen do to cause a disruption? So bacteria are cells. They're cells, which means they're doing things. They're like making energy. They're using glucose. They're using oxygen. They're putting out carbon dioxide, and sometimes they're putting out other things too, right? So, if I get an extra cell in my body that's like not really a part of my body, it's going to start to compete or have a competition with the other cells in my body. So basically, bacteria uses up the resources that my body cells need. Okay? It's a competition. So if I have a cut on my finger and some bacteria gets in there, now that bacteria is like fighting with my skin cells and my blood cells to use up all the resources and reproduce and reproduce and reproduce. Okay? Now, a virus is not a cell. I'm going to say that one more time. A virus is not a cell, which is pretty cool because it actually has to use a different cell in order to reproduce. It can't do it by itself, which is like pretty freaky deaky. So a virus is like a parasite. You might remember Parasite from when we studied ecological relationships. We talked about like a tick, that little tiny insect that bites your skin and sucks your blood, right? It's a tick, it's a parasite. And the virus does a very similar thing. So it actually goes into a cell and it releases its DNA or its RNA and it turns the cell into a virus factory. So a virus is like a parasite. It takes over a cell to make more viruses. Okay, and we're going to learn about this in depth. We're going to like really figure this out. Okay, I'm actually going to delete this section. You won't have it on yours. Sorry, I left it on mine. And the very last thing that I want to talk about is what we know about all of this stuff about viruses and bacteria. We need to put like a final stamp on it about whether or not they are alive. Okay, so when I talk about biotic, right? Biotic means what? Living. Yeah. Okay, so biotic means living, and abiotic means non-living. Okay. So when I talk about a bacteria, go ahead and check this stuff out. Go back up here, look at these 3 pieces. Is a bacteria alive or not? Is it biotic or abiotic? It's biotic, okay? A bacteria is alive. Bacteria is alive. It is a cell, okay? Cells are alive. Your cells are alive. My cells are alive. Bacteria cells are alive. Okay. Now, viruses, on the other hand, are not cells. They don't have everything they need to make their own energy or reproduce. And so they're not alive. We consider them abiotic. Viruses are not alive. Okay. This has been a lovely conversation. We have all the most important differences now between bacteria and viruses. What I want you to do is think about these things, think about how they cause diseases, and then go ahead and answer these 2 questions. It's 2 questions. It's maximum 4 sentences. What do you think is the most important difference between bacteria and viruses? I'm not going to answer it. It's up to you. You have to answer it. And then your second question is going to be, why do you think that these differences matter to doctors? Okay, so you put yourself in your doctor's shoes. Somebody is sick and you need to test to figure out if it is it bacteria or virus. Why would that be important? Why is it important if we know if somebody's sick because of a bacteria or from a virus? Okay. I'm excited to see your answers. I'm looking forward to checking all this stuff out. If you have any questions, come see me during office hours. I'm sorry this is a really long video, but the good news is your work is done. So that's awesome. All right, guys. Let's talk soon, okay? Come to office hours. Please come. I love seeing you there. All right. Bye, guys.